Hello there. Welcome to Now Tell Us. That's an episode or a program where we have all people come and tell us stories. They come and highlight a topic. They come and inspire us, educate us, and always we are having great guests. Now, to remind you, if you want to see this episode, past episodes, and future episodes, go to www.nowtellus.com and you'll get them there, and you can listen to all the or from all the podcast platforms. That's iTunes, Spotify, Audible, name it. And I pray that you enjoy the episodes. I also ask you to share with your friends, each and every one of them. And now, I'm your host, Anthony Morore, and I'm welcoming you. And we have a great guest with us today who was jailed in Beijing. But we're going to find out about that story from him. And what we are going to get from the episode, I believe, is great. So stay tuned and comment, ask questions as we go. And without taking one more minute, I'm going to invite to our show our guest today, who is Chancellor Jackson. Hi, Jackson.
Hey, what's going on, Anthony? How you doing? Blessings and balance to you, and blessings and balance to everyone that's tuning in right now. Appreciate you for having me.
Thank you, and it's such an honor to have you here. Now, to get us started, can we know who is Chancellor Jackson?
For sure. So, Chancellor K Jackson is the full name. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, where I was born and raised. Played football vast majority of my life. So, football helped shape a lot of my character and develop me as an individual and as a spirit. So, I got to play in high school and then got to play in college for 4 years. And that's where I obtained my bachelor's degree in communication and media studies. After I graduated from Stetson University, I landed my first job teaching English to children in China. So that's how I ended up out there.
Oh,
I
okay,
entered
yeah.
China October 10th, 2018. Yeah, and I was supposed to do a year. That's how long my contract was set for. But I only ended up doing 6 months before, everything hit the fan and I was locked up out there. But
Oh,
prior to getting locked up, China was absolutely amazing. Best experience I've ever had, hands down. I highly encourage everybody to travel abroad, of course, but you can't truly, get connected with the land that you're in a span of days. So that's why I encourage people to live abroad, someplace else, in
yeah.
which you come from. And it doesn't have to be long. I lived in China for 6 months and I got a full experience of China. So,
Mhm.
you ain't got to go someplace else for, an extended period of time, just for a little bit and just see how much you grow and how much you learn. It's very enlightening. It's a very enlightening experience.
Yeah.
But all in all, I enjoyed every minute of China.
Mhm.
Um, and then on April 4th, 2019, I was arrested and then just locked up, detained in Beijing jail number 6, where I was locked up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Mhm.
15 men to one cell, 9 wooden beds, 3 soups a day. And all I had literally was one Tupperware, one plastic bowl, and one
Mhm.
plastic spoon for 14 days straight.
No, it's good that you encourage people to travel. I also encourage people to travel. Uh, Personally, I'm in Athens, Greece from Kenya, and
Yeah,
I hope to travel, be in Atlanta, Georgia sometime. Maybe we will see
yeah,
in the future.
yeah.
And actually, my mother used to say that he who never travels thinks that it's only his mother who cooks best.
No, thanks.
So you gotta travel to find out some other tastes, learn some new cultures, and get to enjoy life in the travels. Yeah, and
Thanks.
it's good that you got to travel. Now, what got you detained? What got you in jail?
For sure. So I got arrested for I honestly don't know what my official charge it was. I just know I got caught with 1.4 grams of cannabis. So
Oh,
for those that don't know anything about cannabis, 1.4 grams of cannabis isn't a lot. If you don't, if you don't partake in cannabis, we're still talking about units of measurement. 1.4 grams of anything isn't a lot. So I
mhm.
didn't have much on me, just personal. And I was getting ready to leave. I was pre-gaming at the house. So those that don't know what pre-gaming is, say you and some friends finna go out on a night full of festivities. Y'all gonna hit the clubs or bars or whatever. But before y'all go out, we gonna say, let's meet up at so and so house, and we're gonna turn up at their house first. So we're gonna party a little bit at their house, and then we're gonna go out and party some more. So I was at my apartment pre-gaming to myself. I got done pre-gaming. I'm finna get ready to leave the house, and preparations of me getting ready to leave, I hear a knock at the door. Guests aren't unfamiliar, so curious to see who it is. I look through the peephole, and there stands 3 officers from the Beijing police. This is not the first time showing up randomly to the apartment, so I'm under the impression, okay, this is the typical routine. Clearly, it's a routine. They do this more than once, so I just put everything away, open the door, and they enter and question me about drugs. Now, I'm from the city of Atlanta. Atlanta is known as the city of finesse. You live by the, you die by the finesse. So he questioned me about drugs. I'm like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. Drugs? Nah, you tripping, bro. Passport? You might need to check my passport. Let me go grab my document. So I go grab my passport, visa, apartment contract, all the documentation I could find, give it to the officer. And as he's going through it, they tell me to sit down at my dining room table. Time passes, and another officer is approaching the apartment. As he enters, he's holding to the officer that I was originally speaking to, and that officer tells me to pee into the cup. So it's a drug test right there on the spot. And right then and there, I was like, oh yeah, it's over with. It's over with. So do the drug test, fail the drug test, of course. By this time, more officers have entered the apartment, and one of them speaks English fluently. So he's questioning me about failing the drug test, where I get the weed from, when was the last time I smoked, da 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 da. So of course, like I said, I'm from Atlanta, the city of finesse. You live by the finesse, you die by the finesse. So I'm just sitting there going back and forth with this officer, just making up lies, making up information to give him, just hoping, hanging on to the hope that they don't come across the rest of my stash. Like, as long as they don't come across the rest of my stash, I'll be good. So me and the officer going back and forth. Once he realized that I wasn't going to give him any information that he could work with, he pretty much just made it clear and evident that, you know what I'm saying, I was caught red-handed and that the charade was up. And as soon as he did that, of course, I was like, damn, it's over with. It's really been over with. I was just trying to see if I could finesse the situation, but I got to die by the finesse this time. It's okay. I live to finesse another day. But now I have to hold myself accountable. Accountability must take place. So to it, they want me to show them where I put the rest of my stash. So I get up to show them where I put the rest of my stash. But lo and behold, once I get there, everything has been discovered and is on display. They was just waiting. They was trying to see if they can get any extra information out of me. So they collect everything, throw the handcuffs on me, send me down in the escort me out of the building, apartment building, send me down in the police van, and we get to one precinct, and we're there briefly, like 30, 40 minutes, and then we get back in the van. Once the handcuffs are thrown on me, all forms of communication is non-existent at this point. I don't know what's going on. So we leave in this one precinct. I'm like, okay, I don't know where we finna go now. You know what I'm saying? So we riding. Now we at another precinct about 30 minutes later. Now they throw me into a holding cell with other then they come back and get me shortly afterwards, take me to the basement of the precinct to do my official interrogation. And this is dramatic within the book because they lock me into this all metal chair that looks like an electric chair just to conduct the interrogation. But by that time, they gave me plenty of time to come up with a good story to finesse their ass with. So they have my story that I was going to give them. So I gave it to them, and it was a smooth process. So after that, they took me back upstairs, took my mugshot, handprint, and then threw me back in the holding cell. Hours pass. It's nighttime now. They come get me from the cell, take me to the lobby, and bring me my basket of clothes and tell me to get dressed. I'm like, all right, bet everything it's gonna work out. So I throw my clothes on. I'm just sitting there waiting for the next set of orders. And then they had me follow them behind a door. They had me follow them through a door that's behind the front desk in the lobby. So as I enter through this door, I'm now in the hallway. At the end of the hallway is a small room crowded with officers. So I'm following the officer into this room. And as I enter this room, I can only assume that this is some form of official evidence room because there's evidence bags everywhere. Like, no sense of organizations. It's just shit everywhere. Like it's bad. I'm like, okay. y'all ain't got no type of structure in here. But in front of me is a table, and in the center of the table is everything that was confiscated from my apartment. To the right side is TV monitors where they watch the footage from the officers' body cameras. So they take the weed and they weigh it up right in front of me. And this is interesting in the book because one, as the reader, you're curious to know how much does the character actually have in possession, and then two, this is one of the very first signs I received from the universe, from my ancestors, from the higher powers, the guardian angels, whatever term you want to use, letting me know how long I was going to be in this situation. This is one of the very first signs. So that when they weighed the weed up in front of me, they told us out of bounds, like I said before. But you look at that decimal, 1.4. If you take away that point, what number do you get?
14.
Hence the title of the book, 14 Days in Beijing. That was one of the very first signs I received, letting me know how long I was going to be in this predicament. And the rest of the signs I received throughout the book, or at least throughout the story, occur in my dreams. But that was the first one and the only actual one that I received like in real live action. Everything else was in my subconscious. But they put everything on paper, had me sign, thumbprint it, and now we get back in the van. I'm like, okay, I've been in custody all day. I've worked with y'all, I've been compliant, I've been cool. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's no way that they're not going to take me home at this point. So we riding. 40 minutes pass, and we arrive at a facility detailed with tall walls and barbed wire. And I was like, oh, this thing just getting started. So we enter the facility. We go to the nurse's office, do a quick physical. They give me my official uniform to put on and give me a plastic bowl and a spoon and take me upstairs to the second floor where the men are housed. And we get to cell 209. And mind you, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning at this point. So once the CO, you know what I'm saying, unlocks the cell door, my stock is thrown instantly at what I see, how the cell is set up. Cell is nothing but a big box. Essentially, I say about 20 feet by 20 feet by 20 feet, length, width, height. You know what I'm saying? Just big enough to house the people that are in there. Immediately as I walk in, it's a little space, and then that's where the beds start. And the beds are numbered wooden planks, 9 of them in total. And that stretch from right there all the way to the back of the cell, on the right side of the cell. To my left is the bathroom. It's its own separate room, but all the walls are made of glass so the cell can see inside. And the bathroom comprises a sink, a squat toilet, so pretty much a hole in the ground that you got to squat over. And then the shower with nothing but a water hose with a shower head duct taped to it. I got black mold coating the walls, gnats and insects flying around. So it's not the most sanitary place, to say the least. So instantly what I see, though, the first thing I see when this door opens is a huddle of bodies sleeping. Because it's 4 o'clock in the morning. So on the beds is a huddle of bodies sleeping. I'm talking about, I describe it as a slumber party in the book. Like back in the day when we was younger, we had like a little sleepover with our friends or family. And it's only like a 10 amount of space to sleep. So we got to sleep head to foot. Like we got to make room. That's how it looked. So I do a head, and across from the inmates sleeping were 2 inmates standing up against the wall, wide awake, watching them sleep.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So of course, with them being the only people up, we make eye contact, and we just have this awkward moment of just confusion and silence, because the last thing they expected to see come walking through this door was his brother with locks. You know what I'm saying? That's the last thing they expected to see. And then the last thing I expected to see was two Chinese dudes watching other Chinese men sleep. So we just like, what's going on here? What are we doing? So I do a head count of the people in the cell. It's 15 of us in the cell. So that's why, and there's 9 wooden beds. So I'm like, well, that's why it looks like a slumber party. You know what I'm saying? There's only a limited amount of space to sleep, so everybody got to make room. So I approached the slumber party trying to find a spot to lay down. And one of the inmates that was up taking watch, he wakes up to people to make room for me, and they do. And they have me set my bowl and my spoon in the cubbies that's up underneath the bed. And then I lay down on the wooden plank between 2 Chinese dudes with my hand on my chest, stand up at the bright light just like this on the ceiling. And that's when reality fully kicked in. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're in here. We don't know how long we're going to be here. Nobody knows we're here. Nothing has been explained to us as far as how this process works, how it operate. Um, we can't really communicate with anybody. It's not looking too good. It's
Mhm.
not, but I have to hold myself accountable. I can't
Mhm.
blame nobody. I can't blame nobody for me being in this situation, but me. I made a choice, face the repercussions from that choice. So it is what it is when it comes to
Mhm.
that. It's nothing, you know what I'm saying? No point of crying over spilled milk. Now, moving forward, what the hell needs to take place for me to get on up out of here? All right, well, you got to become missing on people's radar. People got to realize you in here. All right, so what needs to happen for that? Well, you're supposed to show up at that event. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go
Mhm.
meet some friends and colleagues at the event before you got
Mhm.
locked up. So you didn't show up, and I'm sure they called you and you ain't answered. Is that a red flag? Not really. Is it weird? Yes, but you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's noticeable. All right.
Mhm.
So, all right, what else needs to happen? Now, when I don't show up for work Saturday and Sunday for my 8 o'clock classes, all hell is breaking loose because they got to find somebody to cover my classes last minute. And then, two, one of the colleagues slash friends I was going to meet at that event the day I got arrested, me and
Mhm.
her work at the same exact school. So I didn't show up to that event and I ain't answered my phone. And now I'm not showing up for work and I'm still not answering my phone. Some red flag.
Mhm.
Something's all right. So that's one factor. The other factor, I had a girlfriend at the time that still lived in America, but we talked regularly. So I was like, when I don't respond to two of her messages, all hell is breaking loose again. So it's like, I know for I'm gonna have to at least sit through this weekend before I become missing on people's radar. So we're gonna have to thug it till Monday, and then hopefully come Monday, the search for me will begin. But until then, hey, you gonna have to, you know what I'm saying, hold it down. So yeah, first 3 days I was the only English speaker, only foreigner in my cell. So it was no form of communication for 72 hours. So it's just a lot of reflecting, a lot of time to reflect. And I don't think nobody, honestly, unless they're incarcerated themselves, right now, nobody has 72 hours for you to just sit back on your ass and just solely reflect.
Mhm.
72 hours is just nothing but reflect. I'm talking about that's literally all you're going to do is reflect. You don't have that much time. You know what I'm saying? You have too much stuff
Right.
going on. It's, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Bills, you have too much stuff going on to be worried. You know what I'm saying? To have take that time to yourself. So just
Yeah.
being granted that opportunity, it was beneficial. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like I said, you don't get that opportunity to have that, you know what I'm saying, that extended amount of time to self-reflect. We might be able to self-reflect for an hour, maybe if that, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna
Mhm.
be about it. So it was definitely a lot of self-reflection and verse new, that's the most of no contact that I could handle mentally. And then
Mhm.
on the fourth day on chapter 4, I moved to a new cell, and now I'm amongst two English speakers. So now I can communicate with somebody, one, and you introduced to two new characters. One is a Chinese American from California, the other one is Brazilian from Brazil, but they're both fluent in English and Mandarin. Um,
Okay.
so we can start connecting the dots as far as how this process works, how the jail operates. But as far as how long I'm gonna be here, I have no clue. But ironically enough, everybody else knows what they are charged for to the T, to the, you know what I'm saying, the last detail. You know how
Mhm.
many days they're sentenced. Everybody knows all of that information. I'm the only one that didn't receive anything.
Okay.
So it's just interesting. You start to meet all these. You can now learn about these other characters, and we can also learn about the Chinese people because now I have translators, so I can communicate with them as well.
Mhm.
Everybody knows all of their information. I'm the only one that, man, for some reason, nothing was communicated to me.
Mhm.
Um, but this just is chapter 4. That's when there's a huge shift within the paradigm of the story because just yeah, at first, you know what I'm saying, it was bad. And now, okay, it's still bad, but that quote, misery loves company. You know what I'm saying, a miserable situation, but hey, I'm alone in this situation. So it makes it a little bit more enjoyable, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, but still, all in all, I'm here to tell y'all I did 14 days. You know what I'm saying? One day they just finally call your name to go home.
Mm.
So still sitting there, not knowing, just waking up, hoping to hear some information, and just going to bed disappointed.
Then how did you get out? What transpired for you to? I mean,
Mhm.
or they just told you go home?
like I said, I'm sleep. I had a dream. Like I said, the universe and my ancestors were sending me messages and signs, letting me know how the process would play out. So they let me know in the very beginning how long I was going to be there, and then they
Mhm.
gave me another sign on like day 3, um, telling me how long I was going to be there. Was I conscious enough to catch the signs they were throwing original, like when it first happened? Hell no. It wasn't until I started writing the book and editing it, that's when I was able to pinpoint like all the different signs they delivered. I'm like, dang, they sent me a bunch of signs. I just was so caught up in the moment, it went clean over my head. But
Mm.
the last sign they gave me, it showed me how my release would be. And
Mhm.
literally, I was asleep, and them folks came to the cell and open, you know what I'm saying, woke us. It was before they even wake everybody in the whole jail up. So like this was before it's time for everybody to wake up. They came by the cell and pretty much just called me to go. And that's exactly what happened verbatim. For the most part, my dream was spot on. It was spot on.
Mhm.
So they just came, just called my number. Finally just called. And took me once I was released, they took straight to my apartment to pack up the rest of my stuff and then straight to the airport while I was deported from the country. Um, yeah.
Oh, that's an experience, and
Yeah.
quite an experience, and that's documented in your book, as you've told us. 14 Days in Beijing. Someone can go and get it from Amazon and read all that you've told us right now. Now, back in the US, how did you keep moving? How was
For
life
sure.
after?
Yeah. So of course now I'm back in America and I'm back to square one all over again when my senior year in college, once football came to the end, like my last game of my football career came to the end, I was at a crossroad. Like, damn, all right, Chance, you've identified as a football player and as a student athlete for so long. You've embodied it, what a
Mm,
football player and a student athlete is. And now that's no longer the case. All right. So with that being said, who are you?
mm,
What do you want out of life? What's next for you? What do you enjoy doing? What do you aspire to be? What's your purpose? I couldn't answer any of these questions.
mm-hmm,
And it took me job searching and for 8 months, so I finally landed the job in China, then going to China, getting locked up, then coming back home. And now I'm back to square one all over again. Back like my senior year of college. All right, what we gonna do? Well, you know what I'm saying? But we had we had differences. We had them with something, and the
mm-hmm,
momentum just so happened to be education. And I'm like, regardless of how it played out, with this being on your resume, you taught in a different country. That's a door opener. That's going to open doors for you. So
mm,
we got to continue to use this. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna use this experience for sure. We're gonna use it to the best of our advantage. So I'm still in education. With that being said, I fell into coaching football, high school football,
mm-hmm,
played it. So it was easy to pretty much fall into. I really wasn't even everything I'm doing right now. You couldn't have told me I was going to be doing once football came to an end for me back in 2017. So
mm-hmm,
I still educate, tutor, and teach and stuff like that. I started writing 14 Days in Beijing that summer of 2019, um, and then released 14 Days in Beijing on. So I got locked up on April 4th, 2019. Right, I released the very first version of 14 Days in Beijing on April 4th, 2020, the
mm-hmm,
anniversary year that everything popped off. Resale, I was ranked the number one new bestseller in 3 different genres. And then, of course, since then, it's ranked 14 Days of Beijing is ranked number one over 15 times, multiple genres. So with all that success, I ended up, I fell into coaching at-risk teens in my county. So we work with teens that got arrested for drugs or arrested for doing something crazy. It's just doing something crazy. And we use 14 Days in Beijing as a part of our lessons to pull our skills from. So we'll read chapter and I have discussion questions for them to reflect off of, you know what I'm saying, Lucky's journey. And then now let's piggyback to your journey and what your situation is like. And let's see what can we pull away from your situation to better you yourself moving forward and all of that. And just making them think and exposing them to just different perspectives that I know for a fact nobody's posing to them, just based on, you know what I'm saying? Who, you know
mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? situation and you have nobody around you that's, you know what I'm saying, in your ear like this. So that's how I got into that. I also coach aspiring authors now. So people out there that have a concept or an idea for a story but don't know how to go about getting it on paper, or you've written a whole story but don't know how to go about publishing it, I can walk you through either process. You know what I'm saying? From the very beginning all the way to the end. So I, you know what I'm saying, help people out with that. I also have my own publishing company, which all my books are published through, and my service is ran through. And we have one client in particular that we've been working with since last year, who just published his book a couple weeks, like last week. It's called The Fatherless Child, and his book ranked #1 new bestseller in 2 different genres.
Mm,
So we're
that's
very,
great.
very excited to be a part of his process, and I knew it was going to be a great story when I was editing it. It's a literary fiction drama, and it's based on his experience getting molested as a child at the age of 10, and he was molested by were children themselves. And
Mm,
this how the change of events, pretty much how that shifted him, and eventually what caused him to become the person who he is today, being a part of the LGBTQ plus community. But it's a powerful, powerful, powerful story. So I knew it, and I knew it was gonna go crazy. Just editing, I was like, it's gonna go crazy. So I'm just happy to, you know what I'm saying, show somebody the ropes and then they take it and they get success from it on their very first try, just like mine. You know what I'm saying? My very first time writing the book, my thing went crazy. So it's just like just helping people out in that facet, because we all have stories. The best
yeah.
teacher life is own experience, and we can learn from others. So helping people put, you know what I'm saying, share their stories in a way that most people think they can't even do. People think becoming an author is this godlike ability that only the special among us will ever get to experience. When like, no, that's not the case at all, bro. Anybody can do this, and I can show you how simple it is. But in addition to all of that, I also own. I run a car rental service, so I rent cars out to people. Got a car rental service. So yeah, man, I'm just running a couple marathons trying to get established. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm,
you know what I'm saying, to start hustling and motivating, encouraging people to, you know what I'm saying, learn themselves, find their purpose, and to pursue their passions and endeavors while encouraging others to do the same.
mm. Yeah, each and every one of us have a story, and once we pass through some issues or some challenges that, like you passed through, you can always use them to teach others, to
Mhm.
inspire others into living, going on. Like you tell us that you kept moving even after the experience, and now you've told us everything that you've been doing and what you are doing right now. So it doesn't stop you from doing what you were meant to do. Uh, Passing through a challenge, a point in life where you are having some problems, is not something to stop you from going to your destiny, living to your fullness.
Facts.
Yeah, and we thank you for rising and keep on moving. And yes, um, I pray that you keep guiding the youth in the right direction, even as you use your example to tell them where you've been. Let them look forward to a brighter future because of your story.
Facts.
Uh-huh.
Facts.
So, how can people connect with you? Those who could be interested in knowing much more about your story, or maybe uh, coming for help in their writing. We have some people who are watching us. We thank each and every one of you who is watching us. Um, and one of the viewers, Mark Vos, says, "Hi guys, interesting story. I was wondering if any financial support came from movements like BLM, for instance, to help young guys and prevent them to end up in crime and help them on their journey. Did any of their funds go into the community, etc?"
I doubt it. It's so many. It's so much to be said about the Black Lives Matter organization, and I mean that from, it's people that say a lot of positive things, and it's also to be the same amount of people that say negative things about that organization. So I feel like that's just a slippery slope. Honestly, like Nipsey Hussle said it best. Um, the best teacher in life is your own experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can sit here and preach. There's plenty of people that do a lot of preaching and lecturing already to, you know what I'm saying, the masses, to the younger generations. But still, like they said, you're not gonna save everybody. You
Mm-hmm.
might be able to save one or two and a whole in a whole population of, you know what I'm saying, maybe 100. You might only be able to get a handful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're not going to save everybody. A lot of people got to learn themselves. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So honestly, the individual has hopefully that individual has some type of guidance around him, and they just most importantly they got to be willing to uh, want better more for themselves, and not to get trapped in this system. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easily to fall victim to it and dig yourself a hole to the point you can't even crawl out of. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Yeah. Then we have Kelly Dolman. Thank you very much, Kelly. I say the actions definitely speak louder than words. Yeah, thank you for that contribution.
for sure. On me.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And every other person who may be watching us, those who get to watch us after we are through and or listen to us from the podcast platforms that we upload, we thank you and we welcome your feedback. And please remember to share this episode with your friends. At this point, we are almost coming to the end of this show, and I'm asking Chancellor Jackson, how can people reach you? That's the question that was going on.
For sure. Um, the best way for y'all to find me is the best search engine out there. Google Chancellor K Jackson. You'll find all my social media platforms, my website, chancellorkjackson.com. You'll find my books, which are available on my website as well as Amazon. You'll find other interviews I've done. I've done damn near 100 of them. So you'll be able to find pretty much all of them. So yeah, just Google me, Chancellor K Jackson. If anybody is aspiring to be an author, y'all can tap in with me, reach out to me on any of my social media platforms, my website, email me. You'll be able to find all that just from Googling me for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, and our viewers want us to stay much more here. And I also saw that you have a link tree. How do we
Yeah.
pronounce this? Is the linktree.ee. So you can always get to Jackson through linktree forward slash Colre.
Oh, man.
I'm
Exactly.
sharing that link to with people so that they can get to just click and follow you in the other platforms or the other areas. Now, as I said, our viewers want us to keep staying here. We have Andy Charles. I'm going to read the comment, and if you have a comment out there, we will give you some 2 minutes to submit. We could read it
For
or a
sure.
question that you have. So Andy Charles is saying, thanks for being the role model you are, Chancellor. Your story brings the reality of possibilities to the conversation that is so needed today. Keep the light shining, bro. Godspeed.
Hey man, blessings to you, Andy. Man, appreciate it. For
Thank you,
sure.
Andy. We appreciate.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, so that's just about it for today. But before we go, Chancellor, can you leave us with a few words that we should always remember?
For sure. Yeah, I got a perfect set of words for y'all. So it's a quote. It's a long quote, and it's by Nipsey Hussle. For those that don't know who Nipsey Hussle is a rapper from Los Angeles, pretty much a serial entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? He had a lot of businesses, but his most successful were music, clothes, and music and clothes primarily. But he also had real estate, crypto. You know what I'm saying? He had a bunch of he's a hustler. You know what I'm saying? The hands down. But
Mm,
the quote goes, long-winded, running through this life like it was mine. Never settling, but setting every goal high. 1,000 burpees on the path to my own self-destruction or success. But what's a mistake without the lesson? You see, the best teacher in life is your own experience. and none of us know who we are until we fail. They say every person is defined by their reaction to any given situation. So, who would you want to define you? Someone else or yourself? Whatever you choose to do, homie, give your heart to it and stay strong.
Hmm. Wow. So, to all of you who are listening, those are the words coming from Chancellor Jackson that he shared with us this day. It's been a wonderful episode. We thank you. All of you who are watching, all those who are listening, we thank you. And once again, we thank Chancellor Jackson for taking his time to be with us here. And I've been your host, Anthony Mwerore. And together with Chancellor Jackson, we are saying bye for now.
Peace.
Bye.